Chosen one. While you've been over there questioning yourself and wondering why that connection felt so wrong, the universe has been working overtime to expose the most twisted web of lies you've ever seen. The truth coming out is so explosive, so absolutely mind-blowing, that you'll realize every gut feeling you had was your divine protection screaming at you to run before their house of cards came crashing down and buried everyone around them. You walked into this person's life like an angel descending from heaven. You showed them what genuine love actually looks like, what real loyalty feels like, the kind of soul-deep connection they'd been searching for their entire life. You were sunshine in their world of shadows, honey in their bitter existence, truth in their web of lies. This person recognized immediately that you were different from everyone else they'd ever encountered. You were authentic when everyone else in their world was performing. You were honest when everyone else was manipulating. You were the real deal walking among a crowd of counterfeits, and they knew it from day one. You represented everything they actually wanted deep down in their soul: peace instead of chaos, loyalty instead of betrayal, genuine love instead of twisted games. The tragedy is that they were too comfortable drowning in their dysfunction to grab the life preserver you were offering. Instead of choosing the blessing that was standing right in front of them, literally offering them salvation, they chose to stay trapped in a nightmare of their own making. The reason they've been pulling away, getting distant, acting strange, it's not because they don't want you. The devastating truth is that they want you so desperately it's eating them alive, but they know they don't deserve you. They've been hiding something so catastrophic, so soul-crushing, that they couldn't bear to let you see what their real life actually looks like. They knew that once you discovered what was really happening behind the scenes, you'd run so fast in the opposite direction that you'd leave skid marks. They knew you'd never look at them the same way again. They knew their chances with you would be destroyed forever. While you've been lying awake at night questioning your value, wondering why you weren't enough, beating yourself up for not being chosen, the universe has been working overtime to show you something incredible. You are what people spend their entire lives searching for. You are the one that got away, the person they'll spend the rest of their existence regretting they lost. You're the person they'll compare every future connection to and find everyone else lacking. You're the standard they'll never be able to reach again. You're the dream they'll never stop having, the what-if that will haunt them until their dying day. You don't settle for being someone's secret when you deserve to be their proudest announcement. You don't accept being an option when you know you're supposed to be the priority. This level of self-worth terrifies people who are used to manipulating others into accepting less than they deserve. The contrast between you and the absolute chaos happening in their actual life is so stark, so dramatic, that it's almost laughable. While you represent peace, stability, loyalty, and genuine love, they chose someone who represents pure destruction, endless drama, betrayal, and emotional warfare. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't bad timing. This wasn't you not being good enough. This was divine intervention in action, protecting you from a situation that would have shattered your peace and destroyed your happiness. You were being saved from something you didn't even know you needed saving from. The person you've been connected to isn't just dealing with relationship problems. They're trapped in a marriage that reads like a crime thriller. Not separated, not it's complicated, not in the process of leaving, fully, legally married, and their spouse has been living a double life so twisted, so deceptive, that it makes soap operas look realistic. This spouse is currently pregnant, and the baby growing inside them isn't their partner's child. Let that earthquake-level revelation sink in for a moment. While you thought you were competing with a loving marriage, you were actually looking at the most toxic sham imaginable. This spouse has been cheating so extensively, so recklessly, that they've gotten pregnant by someone else entirely. The level of disrespect, the depth of betrayal, the sheer audacity of this situation is mind-blowing. This isn't just infidelity, this is a complete destruction of everything marriage is supposed to represent. And it gets worse, much worse. This pregnant spouse also has a sexually transmitted disease. They're literally carrying another person's baby while infected with an STD, and they've been trying to hide both facts from their partner. The person you cared about has been living with someone so reckless, so dangerous, that they could have been putting their own health at risk every single day. The level of disrespect this person has been willing to tolerate in their marriage is absolutely staggering. They've been refusing intimate contact with their spouse because they suspected something was terribly wrong. They've been living like hostile roommates rather than lovers because deep down, they knew their spouse couldn't be trusted with anything. This is the relationship they chose over pursuing something real and beautiful with you. This disaster is what they picked instead of the peace and joy you were offering. This nightmare is what they thought was better than the dream you represented. Right now, this person is going through what can only be described as a complete psychological breakdown. They hired a private investigator because their suspicions became impossible to ignore, and the evidence that came back shattered any remaining illusions they had about their marriage. Hotel receipts with dates that match up perfectly with times their spouse said they were working late. Text messages so explicit and damning that reading them probably made the investigator blush. Pregnancy tests hidden in places where they were never supposed to be found. Photos that tell a story no one should ever have to see. The investigation revealed a pattern of deception so elaborate, so carefully planned, that it shows this wasn't just a mistake or a moment of weakness. This was a calculated, ongoing betrayal that required lying, planning, and coordination. This spouse has been living an entirely separate life right under their partner's nose. They're looking at this positive pregnancy test with absolute certainty that the baby isn't theirs because they haven't been intimate with their spouse in months. They've been protecting themselves physically and emotionally because they knew this day of reckoning would eventually come. The truth was always going to surface. Chosen one. You didn't find this message by accident. You were summoned by the pulse of something ancient in your blood, by the frequency only the rarest of souls can hear. Welcome to the Obsidian inner order, where the ones who've been to hell and back don't just heal. Inside our sanctuary, we don't chase clout, followers, or fake peace. We shatter illusions, we wield prophecy, we initiate miracles. Each week our happy hour Zoom call isn't just a meeting, it's where revelations drop like lightning. It's where you laugh with soul family, cry with cosmic warriors, and walk away charged up. You're not just joining a group, you're stepping into a soul alliance, a league of misfits, prophets, warriors, and lightbringers who were never meant to fit in this world, because we came here to reshape it. If you've been feeling like the system lied to you, if you've always known you were built for a different timeline, if your glow-up has enemies praying for your downfall, then it's time. This is your signal, the Obsidian inner order. Powered by Astral Atom, we don't fit in, we take over. Link in the description. The moment they saw that evidence, everything clicked into place. All those suspicious behaviors, all those flimsy excuses, all those times their spouse deflected questions or got defensive about innocent inquiries, it all made perfect sense suddenly. They weren't being paranoid or insecure, they were picking up on real deception. This is the moment they're realizing the magnitude of what they gave up when they chose to stay in this toxic situation, instead of pursuing something genuine and beautiful with you. They're seeing the difference between someone who would betray them in the most devastating way possible and someone who would have been loyal and faithful until the end of time. The real reason they pulled away from you, the real reason they ghosted you, the real reason they suddenly became unavailable has absolutely nothing to do with you not being enough. They couldn't face the humiliation of telling you they were married to someone who was actively destroying their life and their health. They knew your character, they knew your standards, they knew you would never ever accept being second place to anyone, especially someone who was treating them with such complete disrespect and cruelty. They knew you deserved honesty, transparency, and someone who was completely available to love you properly. They were too ashamed to admit what their real life looked like behind closed doors. They couldn't bear to tell you that while you saw them as strong and confident, they were actually trapped in a situation that was slowly poisoning their soul. They couldn't admit they were too weak to leave a marriage that was destroying them. This ghosting that felt like the cruelest rejection was actually the kindest protection. Divine forces were working around the clock to keep you away from a situation that could have genuinely put you in physical danger. This spouse they're dealing with is unpredictable, potentially violent, and definitely not mentally stable. You could have been threatened, harassed, or worse, simply by being associated with this mess. You could have received angry phone calls in the middle of the night. You could have had your car vandalized or your safety compromised. You could have been dragged into court proceedings or custody battles that had nothing to do with you. The universe orchestrated your removal from this situation before you could get too emotionally invested or physically endangered. Every time they cancelled plans, every time they were too busy to see you, every time they made excuses or seemed distracted, that was divine intervention working overtime to save you from becoming collateral damage in someone else's war. What's happening to this person right now can only be described as karma working at lightning speed with surgical precision. Their spouse, the one they chose over you, the one they thought was worth protecting, is currently either missing or in hiding. The reality of what they've done has crashed down like a house of cards, and they're dealing with consequences that are spiraling completely out of control. We're talking about a pregnant person with a sexually transmitted disease who may have fled the situation entirely when they realized their lies were about to be exposed. This person is now dealing with legal paperwork, potential custody battles for a child that isn't even theirs, and a scandal that has become the talk of their entire community. Their private business has become public entertainment. People are discussing their marriage over coffee, analyzing their poor judgment over dinner, and using their situation as a cautionary tale about ignoring red flags. Their most intimate betrayal has become gossip fodder for people who barely know them. Their friends aren't even pretending to be supportive anymore. People who once respected them are now asking how they could have been so completely blind to what was happening right in front of them. The phrase, "How did you not see this coming?" is being whispered in every conversation about their situation. Their reputation, which took years to build, has been destroyed in a matter of days. Professional relationships are becoming awkward. Social gatherings are uncomfortable. Family members are choosing sides. Their entire social structure is crumbling because of choices their spouse made. Meanwhile, their spouse's affair partner, that trusted friend or family member, is dealing with their own devastating fallout. This isn't just adultery. This is a betrayal that's destroying multiple families, ending friendships and creating enemies that will last for generations. The ripple effects are touching everyone connected to this situation. While their universe is imploding in spectacular fashion, yours is about to expand in ways that will take your breath away. You've been given divine clearance to explore your options, to see what else the world has to offer someone of your caliber. The universe has essentially rolled out a red carpet and said, "You're free to find what you actually deserve." You have multiple high-quality people already interested in you, waiting respectfully for the right moment to step forward and show you what real love looks like. These aren't people looking for games, drama, or complicated situations. These are mature, stable individuals who want something genuine, something lasting, something beautiful. These potential connections have been watching you handle this confusing situation with grace, dignity, and wisdom. They've been impressed by your patience, your integrity, and your refusal to compromise your standards. They recognize quality when they see it, and they're prepared to treat you accordingly. One of these people may own property, have their financial situation completely sorted out, and be emotionally ready for something serious and committed. They're not dealing with baby drama, disease drama, divorce drama, or any other chaos. They're mentally healthy, emotionally available, and financially stable, everything the other person wasn't and never could be. The contrast is going to be so dramatic, so night and day different, that it'll make you wonder why you ever thought you wanted to be part of that dysfunction. You're attracting people who have their lives together because you have your life together. You're drawing in quality because you are quality personified. Your social circle is about to expand with people who share your values, your vision for the future, and your commitment to building something meaningful. No more settling for people who can't match your energy, your loyalty, or your level of emotional maturity. This entire situation was orchestrated by divine forces to remove you from something that would have destroyed your peace, damaged your health, and possibly endangered your safety. You were the test they failed spectacularly. You represented the path to genuine happiness, and they chose familiar dysfunction instead. You were supposed to be the wake-up call that finally motivated them to leave that toxic marriage. You were supposed to be the inspiration they needed to choose happiness over habit, love over convenience, peace over chaos. Instead, they chose to stay trapped in a situation that was slowly killing their spirit. The universe doesn't mess around when it comes to protecting its chosen ones. Every moment you felt rejected was actually a moment you were being shielded from trauma. Every time they pulled away, divine forces were preventing you from getting entangled in someone else's nightmare. The timing of this revelation is perfect. You're discovering the truth exactly when you need to understand why things happened the way they did. You're getting confirmation that your instincts were right, your standards were appropriate, and your decision to protect your peace was wise. You're beginning to understand something that's going to change your entire perspective on this situation. You are absolutely nothing like the person they married. You don't cheat, you don't lie, you don't play devastating games with people's hearts and health. You're loyal, genuine, trustworthy and valuable, everything their spouse isn't and never will be. This realization is setting you free from any lingering feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt. You're recognizing that their spouse's behavior reflects on them and their judgment, not on your worthiness of love. The fact that they stayed in a marriage with someone who treats them so poorly shows you everything you need to know about their standards and their self-respect. Your standards aren't too high, their standards are catastrophically low. You refusing to accept being someone's second choice wasn't you being difficult or demanding, it was you knowing your worth and protecting your heart. Every boundary you set, every time you refused to compromise your values, you were saving yourself from this exact nightmare. You're understanding that you don't have time to wait around for someone to figure out how to escape their self-created prison. Life doesn't pause for other people's drama. While they're dealing with divorce paperwork, custody battles, and court appearances, you could be building something beautiful with someone who's actually available and worthy. The difference between you and their spouse is like comparing diamonds to broken glass. You represent everything good about love: loyalty, honesty, commitment, respect. Their spouse represents everything destructive about human nature: deception, betrayal, selfishness, and cruelty. You're realizing that divine forces protected you, not just from their chaos, but from the trauma of discovering their spouse's true nature firsthand. You could have been the one getting threatening phone calls. You could have been the one discovering evidence of cheating. You could have been the one worrying about sexually transmitted diseases. Someone extraordinary is about to enter your life who wants something real, committed, and beautiful with you. This person isn't married, isn't dealing with baby drama from previous relationships, and isn't carrying the emotional baggage of betrayal and trust issues. They're mentally healthy, emotionally available, and ready to build something lasting. Financial blessings are aligning in your favor as well. The emotional energy you've been wasting on worrying about someone else's situation is about to be redirected into opportunities that will significantly improve your own life. Money, career advancement, and material blessings are coming your way as rewards for your patience and wisdom. You're about to go through a transformation that will make you even more radiant and attractive than you already are. People are going to see you glowing with happiness, thriving in every area of your life, and living with the kind of joy that's contagious. The person who lost you is going to witness this evolution from a painful distance. Your living situation might improve dramatically. Your career could take an unexpected leap forward. Your health and vitality are going to increase as the stress of that confusing situation leaves your system. Every area of your life is about to benefit from your wise decision to choose yourself. Your revenge isn't going to be petty, vindictive, or cruel. It's going to be pure, overwhelming success. You're going to live so well, love so freely, and thrive so obviously that it'll be impossible for anyone to ignore or diminish. Your happiness will be the loudest, clearest statement you could possibly make. You're going to become an even more beautiful, confident, and powerful version of yourself. People who see you will be amazed by your transformation. You're going to be walking proof of what happens when someone chooses their own well-being over someone else's dysfunction. The person who lost you is going to hear nothing but incredible news about your life: career promotions, exciting relationships, amazing opportunities, personal achievements. Your name is going to be associated with success and joy. Meanwhile, their name is going to be connected with scandal, poor judgment, and public embarrassment. Everyone who witnessed how they treated you is going to see your spectacular comeback and understand exactly who the real prize was in that situation. People are going to look at their current nightmare and then look at your thriving life and draw their own conclusions about who made better choices, you're going to be the example of what happens when someone knows their worth and refuses to settle for less. Your story is going to inspire others to raise their standards, trust their instincts, and stop accepting treatment that doesn't reflect their value. Your success is going to be so complete, so undeniable, that it'll make their loss feel even more devastating. They're going to realize they had everything they ever wanted right in front of them, and they threw it away for a disaster that destroyed their entire life. This person is beginning to comprehend the true magnitude of what they've lost, and the realization is destroying them emotionally. They're understanding that while you would have been completely loyal, supportive, and faithful, they chose someone who betrayed them in the most devastating way imaginable. The contrast is keeping them awake at night, making them physically ill. They're starting to understand that they don't deserve you, never deserved you, and have no right to even think about trying to win you back. They know that any attempt to reconnect would be purely selfish because they can't offer you the clean slate, the peace of mind, or the drama-free life you deserve. Their friends are telling them to try to get you back, but they know it's completely impossible. They understand you well enough to know that you won't accept being someone's backup plan or second choice. You won't wait around while they sort out the disaster of their marriage. You're too intelligent, too valuable, and too self-respecting for that. The worst part for them is knowing that you're going to move on completely. You're going to find someone who appreciates you, and you're going to be happy in a way they never made you feel. They're going to have to live with the knowledge that they had their chance with someone extraordinary, and they destroyed it. You've made your position crystal clear through your actions and your energy. You don't accept breadcrumbs when you deserve the entire feast. Any future attempt they make to reconnect with you will be met with firm, unwavering boundaries. You're not interested in being someone's plan B, their escape route, or their consolation prize. Your loyalty, your love, your energy, none of it is available to them anymore. You've redirected all of that beautiful energy towards someone who will appreciate it, value it, and reciprocate it properly. When you commit to your next relationship, you're going to be completely faithful and devoted, something they'll never experience from you again. You will not allow them to disrupt your new happiness or contaminate your peace with their chaos. You've learned that people who truly value you don't put you in situations where you have to question your worth or compete for their attention. You've learned that the right person won't make you feel like you're asking for too much when you expect basic respect. The most powerful thing about your position is that it's not emotional or reactive, it's simply factual. You've moved on because moving on was the logical, healthy choice. You've chosen yourself because you finally understand that you were always worthy of that choice. You're being rewarded abundantly for making the courageous choice to not settle for dysfunction disguised as love. Every blessing flowing into your life is direct compensation for the patience you showed, the wisdom you demonstrated, and the strength you displayed by walking away from toxicity. The person who lost you is going to have to watch you receive everything they could have given you, everything they should have given you, but from someone who actually recognizes your worth and treats you accordingly. They're going to witness your complete happiness from a distance and know that it could have been theirs. This situation taught you the most valuable lesson anyone can learn. Your worth isn't determined by whether someone chooses you. Your worth is inherent, unchangeable, and absolute. The right people will recognize it immediately and consistently. You don't have to convince anyone of your value. You just have to refuse to accept treatment that doesn't reflect it. You've become a living example of what happens when someone truly knows their worth and refuses to compromise it for anyone or anything. Your story is going to inspire others to raise their standards, trust their instincts, and stop accepting less than they deserve from people who should be honored to have them. The universe has been preparing you for something so much better than what you thought you wanted. Your temporary disappointment was actually divine redirection towards something infinitely more beautiful, stable, and fulfilling than you could have imagined. You were the test they failed catastrophically, the blessing they rejected foolishly, the opportunity they wasted completely. Their failure became your freedom. Their poor judgment became your protection. Their devastating loss became your miraculous liberation. The divine forces protecting you knew that you deserved so much better than being dragged into someone else's nightmare. You were kept away from a situation that would have traumatized you, contaminated your peace, and compromised your happiness. Every moment of confusion was actually a moment of divine protection, working in your favor. Your future is completely unlimited because you didn't settle for dysfunction dressed up as love. You didn't mistake drama for passion, chaos for excitement, or complication for depth. You recognized that real love is peaceful, honest, exclusive, and uncomplicated, not secretive, shared, and stressful. You are a chosen one, and chosen ones don't accept scraps from tables where they should be sitting as honored guests. Your story isn't ending with someone else's rejection. It's beginning with your full recognition of your own incredible power and worth. The person who's meant for you is going to be amazed by your strength, inspired by your standards, and grateful for your heart. They're going to treat you like the treasure you are, because they'll recognize immediately what the other person was too blind to see. Your greatest victory isn't that you avoided their disaster, it's that you discovered your own unshakable worth in the process. The best is yet to come, and you're finally free to receive everything you've always deserved.